dear colleagues and opera lovers, welcome to Prelude, a mini interview series about opera. Today's episode is hosting internationally acclaimed mezzo-soprano Judit Kutasi. Judit has achieved a lot in a relatively short time. She has enchanted both the audiences and critics for her interpretations of the great dramatic Verdian roles at some of Europe's major theatres. Hello, Judit. Welcome to Prelude, and thank you for joining us.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's a really great pleasure to be here.
It's a great pleasure for us as well. I will start with my first question for you, which is, how did you decide to pursue an operatic career?
At 10 years old, I started in private to do musical theory and piano, which I love until today, and I'm playing a little bit of piano all the time when I can. And then when I was 11, the following year, they took me in the music school, and I started with cello, violoncello, and of course piano in the same time.
And when did you find out that you have a voice, and how?
Yeah, so I grew up in a Reformierte church, and I am reciting poems and doing small plays for Christmas or Easter from when I was 3 years old. And then, of course, we were singing in the choir and the youth choir, and I started like this, and I really enjoyed to sing all the time, and I noticed that I have a more darker and more bigger voice because it was so powerful that I could sing over the others, and then they keep giving me like solo parts here and there. And when I joined the music school, after 4 years before I went to high school, I had a small accident at my hand and I had to be operated, and then I had to leave playing cello because I couldn't anymore. It was extremely painful. I had a cyst on my hand and on both of them, and it was impossible for me to play cello anymore, even though I loved it so much. And my cello teacher from gymnasium, from the music school, she always put me to learn all the cello concerts and sonate and everything by heart with solfege to learn to sing it. And she told me, okay, now you're gonna sing it to me, and then we are putting it on the cello. We are practicing it on the cello. And when this accident happened, she realized all these years that I have a different kind of voice. And then she was like, what do you want to do? Do you want to go ahead and maybe be a theory, music or history teacher, or what do you want to do? And I said, I don't know, but I still want to do cello if it's possible. And then she said, I don't think that it will be possible because of your accident to get to a high level performance. And then she gave me this idea, but you know, every time when I listen to you singing all the concerts and all the exercises and everything that I give you for the cello, you have a different kind of voice. Maybe you would like to explore that side. And then she asked me, do you know what is an opera singer and what is opera? And I said, oh no, are these people who are shouting all the time when I pass by the opera house and I don't understand what they're saying? And then my teacher said, oh no, but they are not shouting. This is their voice. They have to have a big voice that it has to cover the whole orchestra, the chorus, and to go over to the public. And then slowly I started to go to the opera, and then I started to have a teacher, a voice teacher, which I dearly love. She passed away 3 years ago, and she started to teach me this small Neapolitan canzonette, Italian songs, and all these things, and I just fell in love. I just
And
fell in love.
actually, what you say right now connects perfectly with the next question, which has to do with your instrument. Your voice is particularly big, and critics have compared you with the great Helena Obratsova sometimes.
Yeah.
It's a great thing to be said. And I wanted to ask how easy it was to tame a voice like yours.
I think to tame a big voice needs a lot of attention, a lot of patience, attention from also the teacher, the mentors, and also from my side, from the singer side. It was not easy, I must tell you, because particularly my voice was ahead of my age, and it was quite difficult to understand that. Firstly, at a young age, when I started when I was 13 to start professional singing, like canto, classic, and then I went on to university and so on, and it took me a while until I really fully understand how my voice is functioning, given the fact that I have so much natural voice. I have from God, from nature, from my parents. I have so much natural big volume, and the darkness of the voice, and I had to understand through my teachers, through what my mentors and my teachers gave me, the information they gave me. I had to sit down with myself and say, okay, what is going on? Because I got so many informations that some of them, they were fine for me, but some of them, they took me out of track, because a lot of people looking at my age, they said, oh no, you cannot sing Verismo, you cannot sing Verdi, you cannot sing this big repertoire at this young age. You have to sing Rossini and Mozart and old Baroque. But the problem was that I couldn't sing those because my voice was not flexible enough. And I felt when I was singing, for example, Mozart, it's written, the mezzo part, it's written for like a soprano too, from my point of view. The tessitura is really high. It sits on my passaggio all the time, which is, you know exactly, it is horrifying to sing all the time on the passaggio. And I was lucky to have a good teacher in university who helped me to put the fundament of my voice and try to understand a little bit of technique and musicality and how a voice and mechanism works biologically. And then, of course, I added on top of that solid fundament, I added so many other informations from so many big singers, coaches, pianists, conductors, and so on. So I think for a big voice, to conclude, you need patience and you need good information, and you need somebody, a teacher who's really patient with you.
Did you always have one voice teacher that you trusted as your vocal coach?
Yes, I had one teacher in university, only one, of course, which was she was the fixed teacher that I had, that it was given to me by the university. And then, of course, I had other teachers for like lead, another teacher, and we were also studying Baroque. We did style and with learning of Baroque with another teacher. So we had more information, but technical wise, I had one teacher in university, and then after I finished my university and masters, in masters I had another teacher, but mostly for like a musical side, mostly to get more information of styles and everything. And after I finished all my studies, I always had different teachers just to get, when I was, for example, in Zurich, I was learning more German repertoire. I started to learn more German repertoire. So
Sorry, you mean the time that you were at the studio?
Yes, when I was in Zurich in the studio.
Because I want to let people know that you were engaged at the Zurich International Opera Studio.
Yes.
And I wanted very much to ask you, because Atelier d'Excellence is in touch with a lot of young singers who just graduated from their universities and they want to make the next steps in their career. So they are asking themselves if the Young Artist Program or Opera Studio is a good solution for them, instead of fighting in this world alone without the support of such an institution. So I wanted to ask your personal experience. How did this participation in the studio shaped your career progress and your professional development afterwards?
Being in the studio in Zurich, it was the jumpstart of my international career, because for me, being in the studio at so young age, I started at 25 going to 26, and like a young mezzo with a big voice, I was praying for a studio, because it still gives you the time to gather a lot of information, to learn new repertoire, to be able still to sing on the main stage of the opera house, because in Zurich, in the studio, us the singers, we were also engaged in the opera house doing smaller roles. Mm-hmm. And for me, this was just amazing, because this is what I wanted. I wanted still to be in the studio and be taken care of somebody and have interactions with a lot of big singers like Brigitte Fassbender, Francisco Araiza, Michel Britt, and so on. So I think it's a very good idea to start in the studio, because the studio opens doors. You do a lot of coachings with big singers and coaches and pianists and conductors and stage directors, and it's very good to network, to go on with the networking. In the same time, you have a lot of auditions that they are made by the studio for you. For example, I was 1 year in the studio, and they were coming from Deutsche Oper, from Berlin, from France, from so many other German opera houses. They came to listen to singers. The opera studio was organizing these auditions, and I think it's just amazing to be in the studio and then to have these auditions for these main opera houses. And this is how you can jumpstart your career and have connections and get a job at the end of the day, because they basically vouch for you if they send you in the audition. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Judith, you have been praised by audience and critics for your interpretations of the contralto and dramatic mezzo-soprano repertoire, especially Verdian roles like Amneris, that you have sung Catarina di Verona recently, Eboli, Ulrica, etc. I wanted to ask, how do you approach interpreting roles of an older age than your actual age and of such an emotional intensity?
I started to learn that there are normal people like us who went through heartache, who went through so many emotions, and I tried to find those emotions in me from my experiences in my life, to get to know Amneris and to get to know Princess Eboli. And it's a process to get there, because it also requires vocal maturity. But as I said, my voice is always ahead of my age. So I don't know. I want to think that I'm lucky somehow, that I can.
Maybe nature and God have prepared you to do something more mature than your age.
Yeah, because honestly speaking, I feel so close to both Eboli and to both Amneris. Amneris is one of my favorite roles to sing, and I sang it now in the past 2 years so many times, and you can wake me up at 3 a.m. and I can sing it to you. But also emotionally, because she's so human, she's so womanly, she's so throughout the opera, if we look, she develops from being this sweet, loving person to be revengeful, and then she's heartbroken at the end because she loses the love of her life. So I think it's good to relate, if you can, with things in your life and your experiences. If not, search around and talk with people and try to get more information from your coaches, from your mentors, to help you to understand exactly what's happening with this kind of roles.
So there is work before going to the stage director. There is work with yourself. There is a lot of study. And I guess you want to create your own Eboli, your own Ulrika, not Elena Bratsova's Ulrika or Eboli. You want to create your own one.
Exact. About Elena Obrastova, she is my idol. I love her. She passed away like months before I wanted to go to her competition in Russia and to meet her personally, because I just love her. She has such a unique voice, and I learned so much about singing this kind of roles. Just to listen to her and listen to her on YouTube and seeing her on YouTube and listening to her, how she talks about interpreting. And of course, from Giulietta Simeonato, from Agnes Balza, from, oh my God, there are so many mezzo-sopranos that I am listening, and I am inspired by them. And I understand that you can sing these roles with your voice. You don't need to change. You have to sing them with your own voice, because that's the mistake that a lot of young singers are doing, because they think, oh my God, Verdi and Wagner, whoa, it's extremely heavy. But at the end of the day, if you sing it with your own voice, with your own technique, with the bel canto technique, you can sing these roles. Of course, you have to have the vocal dates to have a more dramatic sound and a more bigger sound, but you always need to sing it with your own voice. Never overdo something, because when you start overdoing in Verdi and Wagner, the orchestra will gonna eat you up, because you don't go through with the voice. You don't go to the public.
Great advice, I think, for aspiring dramatic singers. You recently had great success singing at Arena di Verona, La Scala di Milano, and almost every major Italian opera theater. I wanted to ask you if there is a key to be accepted as a Verdian singer from the Italian audience, which is not the most easy audience in the world. To accept somebody who is not Italian. You're Romanian. We are a little bit of a relative with Italians, but you're not Italian. So how have you gained this kind of acceptance? How do you approach the language, maybe the tradition?
We as singers, we shouldn't think about if we were gonna get accepted by by this audience or by that audience or by the Italian, the German, the American or whatever, or Russian. The important thing is that when you sing Italian repertoire, go to a Italian speaking coach. Go to somebody whose mother language is Italian, or when you study a role like Amneris or Eboli or Ulrica, all these Verdi operas, I always went to an Italian coach. I always had next to my teacher and my coaches from Berlin, I always had how I say, to put the cherry on top, I had always the last coach after I was super prepared with my first two coaches and mentors. Then I always went to put the cherry on top with an Italian coach. For me, this is how it functions. I can recommend it also to somebody else, to everybody else, every singer, because it's always important to coach with somebody whose mother language is the opera that is written in, the language that is written. And you have to be very prepared, because if you go with that mentality that oh, will the public love me? If you are happy and you're at a very high level and very prepared and you're doing your best and you put your heart into it, your heart and your soul and everything that you have, I think that the public will love you no matter what. If you are at a high standard, singing very well, and you're very well prepared, you know that you did your work. When you go to La Scala, for instance, I went there confident that I did my work, that I know that I worked, and I had some coaches and some mentors that they told me, yes, you are prepared to go and sing that. Of course, when I got there, of course, working on the music with the conductor and all that, I gave them something. After my whole work, I gave them something. Of course, there's always a collaboration between the singer and the conductor, because every conductor have their own ways of singing music and of making music and of knowing the singer. So it's always a give and take, but it's very important to be already prepared and give something to the conductor. Tell them, this is me, this is what I can do at my best. And then they take that information and they see, she can do this. Okay, let's see if she can do this better, or let's see if she can do what I want in this and this and this and this. And then it's basically a conversation of it. But at the end of the day, you really need to be very prepared, because there are very high standards. We know exactly that in Scala, it's not easy to sing. It's a huge, big tradition in Italy in general, and especially in La Scala, with the public who, if they don't like you, they boo you directly, they don't care. But thank God, I was lucky and they didn't boo me.
Judith, at this point, I would like to ask if you have developed any unusual strategies or techniques in order to deal with stress and pressure of an international career.
It helps me a lot to relax when I'm singing in a big house, just by taking walks, just by studying more and learning more, that it's about my singing, and try to always be on point and up to date with everything that is happening in the opera world and in the singing world, and music-wise, interpretation-wise, and acting-wise, and everything. And this helps me a lot. Having a lot of knowledge, this helps me a lot to relax and to know that I have a lot of knowledge, and then I'll try to, of course, there's always more to learn every day, even about my singing. And every time when I sing a role and I go in a different production, I always learn something and I always discover something. But it's very important to have a very solid fundament and to have first to have a very solid vocal fundament that you trust and you know that it's functioning. I think that helps me a lot to deal with the stress and the demands of an international career, because I know that I am strong and I know how my voice is functioning in every situation, because I had also horrible situations on stage. And sometimes we need a break, sometimes from everything, from media, from everything around us, just to gather around, just to be with yourself and gather yourself. It's not easy, but you need to be happy with what you're doing. We opera singers, from my point of view, we are chosen by God to do this, because it's such a beautiful connection that happens when we are on stage. For me, it's I feel more closer to the divine when I'm on stage, because it's such a beautiful connection and it's such a beautiful atmosphere. It's not about hitting the right notes, you know, it's about what you give from your soul, because we give our soul and our heart on the plate like this to the public and to everybody else. And that's why I don't think about if the public loves me. I know what I give. I always give my heart and my soul 150%. Of course, there are people who won't love me, but I don't need to search that everybody to love me.
Before we say goodbye, I would like to ask you, I really look forward to hearing your voice again on stage. So I will ask you if you would like to share some future plans despite the current circumstances of COVID-19. Do you have something in your current plans?
Yes, of course. In a week or so, I'm going back to Berlin to do this Rheingold AdE, which we are doing it outside. It's in a parking space, which is amazing. It's such an I never thought that it will be able to do an opera in a parking space, but how they managed to do it is just like, it's something special to be able to do music after so many months, to be able to sing. So yeah, I'm gonna do this Rheingold, and then I'm going back in September to do Aida and Gioconda, also in Berlin in the Deutsche Oper. And they want to do it inside the opera house in a concert version, probably semi-staged concert version of these operas, because you know it's still not allowed to have too many people, like the chorus, for example. So they will have to cut out some chorus people or to put less chorus people. So they are still figuring this out, because everything now, every day it's something new coming up. For instance, now in Germany, the numbers went up again because people, they went out in vacations and they don't take care so much. Mm-hmm. And it affects us a lot, the performing arts. And sometimes I think that people are selfish. They think only about themselves. Sometimes I do understand that it's a hard time and you know need to go out and relax, and it's the time for holidays. But yeah, so yeah, this year this is it, and then next year I will sing Don Carlo in Modena and Piacenza in Italy, and also I will return to Berlin to do Eboli. So, but you know, the dates are there, but this year we are still looking to get some more concerts here and there, because I was supposed to do Gioconda at La Scala, but then they canceled it because it was supposed to be a premiere, and they didn't had enough time to do all the decor and to build the stage and everything. So they had to cancel it, and then we were gonna do it in like 2022. So we are still seeing exactly what's happening, if we can do some concerts here and there, because it's easier doing concerts.
Let's hope that people will behave responsibly, wearing their masks and keeping the distances and respecting each other, and that the cultural organizations will find alternative ways to function, because people see just the artist, see just you, me, the other person, but they don't know that there are families behind those people. There are people that need to go to feed their children and pay their schools and do stuff. It is not easy. So it is a whole world that has been unemployed and in a very difficult position, especially in the United States.
It's very, very difficult everywhere in the world. It's really difficult. We are lucky in a sense that we started in Italy and Germany. We started already to have concerts and productions outside, inside only with limited people. So I think it's a positive thing, and it's a positive start. And hopefully this year and beginning of next year will be more and more, because it's difficult, because sometimes they forget that, as you said, that behind an artist there's also a family that it needs to be fed. And it's so hard to see that my American colleagues, they are in such a difficult place that even if they have contracts here in Europe, they cannot fly here, and they are not allowed to fly because of this situation. So I'm hoping, I'm praying, and I'm hoping, and I'm staying positive, and yeah.
Yes, let's pray for the people who are sick first, then for the arts, and for everybody who has lost their jobs.
Yes.
And we came to the end. And
oh my God!
It was a very, very enjoyable hour for me with you. And I would like to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here today and for sharing your career path with the audience of Prelude. I would also like to extend my thanks to our audience for being with us, for attending your path and your experiences. And I would like to finish this interview with something that you would like to wish to some of our colleagues who we read often on social media, things like, I can't sing, I haven't sung for 3 months, I cannot find my voice, I feel so desperate, my gigs have been cancelled. What would you wish, what would you advise in a sentence to these people that are feeling a little bit down and they need to hear something positive from you, I think?
Yeah, never lose hope. That's the first thing. Never lose hope. Try to think positive, to bring yourself up with small things that you enjoy doing. If you cannot go out and sing, make small concerts for your family or for somebody, like close friends that you got in contact during this period. Yeah, don't lose hope, because it will be better. 100%, I'm sure it will be better.
Thank you so much, Judit. And ladies and gentlemen, that was Judit Kutasi, the Romanian-Hungarian mezzo-soprano, a voice that, in my opinion, will stay in history.
Oh, and wow.
We will be here to say that.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was really a great pleasure to talk to you, and hugs and kisses for you and for the public and for everyone, and just stay healthy and stay positive.
Goodbye, my dear. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Goodbye. Bye. Bye. Bye.